Yo, 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 guys, what is up? What is up? Dar is back on World of Tanks patch 8.1. Today we are looking at the Tier 7 Black Prince. This thing is a Churchill on steroids. Now, we can look here. Our engine power is 600. 53 tons, well, 50 tons, max 53. Where is my speed limit of 20 kph? It's still slow. Still slow. Still slow. But get used to it. That's just the way it is. Everything we've played up to this point is pretty damn slow. But again, you know, we should be used to slow tanks. Yeah, that's just, we should be used to that. Now, this one is a little bit different from the Churchills of the past, we will call it. Again, you want to angle your armor. Same strategy. Except the mantlet on this one is not paper thin. The mantlet on this one will actually bounce shells. It's actually got a mantlet in there. It's not a huge mantlet, but it's not the super weak point that the previous versions of the Churchill have all been, including the gold version. The weak points on here is going to be these right here. This whole front plate right here is weak. Down here is all weak. It says, let's see, what does it say on hull armor here? It says 152. I'm guessing that's this plate right here that nobody's going to be hitting anyway. Anything's going to bounce off of that any damn way. Everything's straight on it, so no real sloping anywhere. That's its downfall. Again, angle that armor. Will protect most of all this because these tracks are going to take most of the damage. Turn your turret toward them. The turret on this one can take a hell of a lot more than any of the previous turrets have been able to take on the Churchills. But again, I have to say, I like this tank. You will see tier 9s in this tank, which could pose a problem in this tank. That's a granted. As far as you angle your armor and stuff, it's still going to be effective against tier 9 tanks, but they're still going to penetrate. The big benefit to angling, you always want to angle all your tanks. Why do you always want to angle all your tanks? Well, it increases the effective armor you have. But in the Churchill, the way these tracks stick out front of your tank like they do, the tracks are going to take a lot of the hits that could potentially kill you, and you're going to get tracked, and of course then you're vulnerable to them coming into your side, which smart people will do, and as we all know, there's not very many of those people we classify as smart actually playing this game. So those tracks are going to save you a lot. You're still going to die. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Eventually you're going to die, but those tracks are going to save you quite a bit. This tank is good. I like this tank as well. It is tier 7 tank. There are better tier 7s out there. Again, the T-29 is going to be your biggest threat. Keep that hull angled. You will bounce off. Tigers will bounce off of you. The IS-3 the KV-3 will bounce off of you. The IS-1 will bounce off of you. So, it's built for survivability if you angle your armor. It will survive. It is a very survivable tank if you just use your damn head about it. As far as offense goes, penetration 188. Well, you're going to be up against a lot of tier 8s. And that's not very good penetration for a tier 8. You're going to have to aim for weak... Oh, I'm sorry. My mistake. I was looking at damage. Penetration at 214. Okay, now that's better. That's a lot better. So you're going to have no problem penetrating anything you go up against. Again, as always, go with the weak points. You know, don't shoot a KV-3 in the turret. Don't shoot a T-29 in the turret. You know, in that big old gun mantlet he's got. Use your head. 188 damage is not very good, but it's doable. It's doable. See, what do we got on rate of fire? 12 rounds per minute. Not too shabby. And then we can go ahead. Tier 7 is usually when I start throwing on my modules. So I'm going to go with ventilation. Let's see. I'm going to go with my gun rammer to increase the amount of ammo I can put out. It's not going to be a ton, but it is going to be a little bit. And when your alpha damage is so low, you want to get as many rounds out as humanly possible. And then I always go with gun lay drive on these because I want to decrease it all. You know, they all go together, really. You know, I mean, I want to decrease my aiming time. I want to, you know, decrease my loading time, and then that stab goes for everything. You know, your aim time, your reload time, your turning time, your everything. It increases everything by 5%. So that's good. Alright, now I am going to change my loadout here, because as I said in the last video, I'm going to go with what I'm going to go with on live. So, oops, let's crank it down by 1, crank it up by 1, there we go. Auto resupply. I'm going to take off the manual and put on the automatic. Why not? I'm on a live server. Or a live server. I might as well spend that gold and not have to worry about putting on my fires. Now, I haven't really had a problem with fires as of yet, but if I do, I'm auto ready to go. So, impressions on this tank, that's a good tank. You know, it's pretty much the same impressions I've had of the last two Churchills. It's really good. I like it. I enjoy it. I think it's going to do good on the live servers. Again, you know, the guns are, you know, have so far been the major issue I've had with the tanks. You know, once we get past, you know, tier 4, the guns, you know, don't do a whole lot of alpha damage, but they do have good reload times, you know, compared to their counterparts. Usually, you know, 1 or 2 seconds faster, and really good penetration. This is also a slow one. Just like all the other Churchills, it is slow. I think we've already touched on that, but it is a slow tank. So, let's get into a battle. And like I said, yeah, I really like it. I think this is gonna do good. I think it's gonna, you know, it's gonna find its niche into the live servers. I mean, hell, if the frickin' French tanks can find their niche, the British should have no problem getting a niche. So we are top tier, up against a couple princes, a Tiger P. So yeah, we should do pretty decent in this tank. Haven't played the Panzer IV Mark 10 yet. I will eventually get to that one, but so far playing against it from tanks lower than it, I have no respect for that tank. Now it could have a lot to do with players, you know, the skill of the players I've gone up against, but from what I've seen of it, I have no respect for that tank. That may very well change when we get to, you know, when I get to trying it and playing it, because I will not buy it on the live server. I'm not gonna buy a tier 7 gold tank. Not gonna happen. But we're definitely gonna give those new ones a try here on PTR. Alright, so we're up against SU-85. That should pose no issue. Even though he does have a good gun. No, he's going hill. Who do we have going hill? Cornwell should be able to take care of him. What else we got going on hill? SU-122 should have no problems. From what I've seen of that gun or that tank so far, not having played it, I think that thing's gonna be a beast. I mean, I'm just saying. I think that thing's gonna be a freaking beast. Alright, so let's get up here. We got this hillside here. We're probably gonna try to use it as cover. Tiger P turret.
Penetration.
Angle the armor, son. Angle the armor. Right there. Nice, right in that turret. Those tier 6 panzers are not very well armed. And we're just eating people up. Look at this reload. 4.7 seconds. See, Black Prince just dinged him on that turret because they have Black Prince. They've improved the turret on the KV series, and I consider this part of the KV series. Wait for this guy to get the hell out the way. Damn, angle this way then.
That one didn't go through.
I must have hit the mantlet on there.
That one bounced.
You see, I got a lot of people shooting at me. Still can't penetrate the hull, but the turret on the Panzer, or the Tiger P, gone. I just hit a dead tank. That Black Prince is the next threat. Missed him there. Zoom in a little bit. See, I'm bouncing off the side, the kind of corner of that turret. So we're gonna start hitting him right here in this corner. If we can actually hit it. I mean, that's, you know, this is the accuracy allows us. But look how many hits this thing has been taking, man, and it just keeps on going. Now, granted, it's only a tier 7 game, but wow. Now, that tank is freaking phenomenal from what I've seen. It didn't do that much damage to the Black Prince. This thing had, you know, could take a lot of damage, a lot like the tier, or just a lot like the Germans, or the Russians, I'm sorry. I'm going to go ahead and pull around here. See? Whoa, that's nice spike there, buddy.
Enemy armor is hit.
Ah, I missed. Angle that armor.
We nailed it bad.
And nothing.
We nailed it bad.
Angle the armor. Nothing.
We didn't penetrate their armor.
See? Look at that. And this thing has a phenomenal gun.
Enemy vehicle.
I mean, that
knocked
SU
down.
does. That TD right there has a phenomenal gun. But look at, I mean, he was doing damn near nothing. And I've seen that guy almost one-shot tanks in these tiers. This thing is phenomenal. I'm not even going to do another game, because that right there showed how good this tank can be. Up again, and that's the new tier 7 Russian Gold TD. That thing has got a really good gun on it. And look at how we took 3 or 4 shots and he didn't do much. He didn't do much damage. This thing is awesome. Like I said, just keep that armor angled. Like, we got sharpshooter, we got steel wall. How many rounds did this thing take? We took hits 13 rounds. We were still at 57%. 57% health remaining, and we took 13 shots. This tank is awesome. And we didn't have tier 5s or 6s shooting at us. We were going up against our tier. Granted, I think there was one tier 6 in there. That Panzer IV Gold tank. But otherwise, they were tier 7s. And this thing is phenomenal. I love this tank. The reload. I mean, did you see that reload? Oh my god. I love this tank. I mean, and I'm not a big fan of tier 7s. But I love this tank. Yeah, they did have the VK killed one of his allies. There's a big problem on the PTR right now with team killers. I've run across them a lot. And that nothing pisses me off more than a team killer. But yeah, Black Prince, huge winner. You know, Peekaboo is not going to be the greatest because, you know, our turret's, you know, back so far. And our rate of fire is great, but when you're Peekabooing, the rate of fire really doesn't help you. You're looking for that alpha damage on a Peekaboo. But see, I refuse to Peekaboo. See, on that area, if you're up against at least tier 7, maybe even tier 8, you know, maybe even a tier 8, because I'm running a little long here, I don't want to get too much into it, but maybe even on tier 8, push around that corner using your angling. Now, especially if there's only one. I mean, if there's like 5 tanks over there, don't fucking do it. That's retarded. But, you know, I mean, if there's one tank, tier 8 or tier 7, and then another one lower than you, I would push around. You know, if there's 2 tanks and one of them are lower than you, one of them's about your tier, I would go ahead and give it a shot. At least see if it could do it. But we looked at that phenomenal gun. As a matter of fact, I even got that tank. Let's look at that really fast, because we still got a couple seconds here on our video. Let's look at that gun really fast. Look at this. The 22 millimeter. Average penetration of 175. Damage of 390. 390 damage. Okay? And that does 175 pen. Now let's go back to our tank. That's what we were bouncing. That's what we took. We took very, very little. We had 60 something health or percent when we got rounded that corner. We had our 57% when we died, or when we won. We didn't die. You can't die at 57% health. Oops, wrong one. Go back here, back to our Black Prince. Had 175 pen, and our armor at the front is 152. He should have been penetrating, but we angled the armor, and all the sides and everything was able to deflect it. This is a phenomenal tank. I love it. I can't say anything. It's slow. That's the bad thing about it. Alpha damage is low. That's the bad thing about it. But with that rate of fire, push and use that rate of fire to your advantage. You can get out 2 to 3 shots in the time it takes somebody else to get out 1 shot. This thing's awesome. I can't. Good, I love it. Alright, guys, so we're going to end it here before I go on for another 20 minutes about how much I love this tank. And remember, comment, rate, and subscribe so you can see the next video coming out. We are covering the tier 8 next. I've only played 1 game in it so far, so I'm going to play some more in it before I do the video. Maybe another 5 or 6 games to get a little more feel for it. One game I had with it was a tank bigger than me, hiding behind me and not allowing me to back up and get out of harm's way. That's a big problem on the PTR. But that doesn't reflect the tank, that reflects the players. And we're recovering tanks. The players suck. So, until next time, guys, remember, subscribe, and comment. Let me know what you think about this thing. This is by far the best of the best that I've played on this line. Oh my god, I love this tank. So, till next time, I will see you in game.